I want to talk real quickly about pseudoscience. Pseudoscience can damage people's ideas and comprehensions of what's really real and what's not. And when you're sitting there and you have someone that is making something sound scientific but yet it's not, and they have you fooled. Really, to tell you the truth, you should really research things yourself and find out the truth of it all. Don't go around listening to someone telling you that creation's real and evolution's a religion, when evolution really isn't a religion. The Big Bang Theory is a theory that deals with the expansion of the universe. We have them on, thermonuclear scales, and yes, the fusion reactions that happen in a star does make elements up to the iron, and then they explode and make some of the heavier elements. And then we've also found that things like white dwarfs that circle each other, they make even more abundance of the heavier materials. So we've watched this and witnessed this and observed this. We've done this with telescopes of all kinds, from radio telescopy to visual, ultraviolet, X-ray, infrared. We know what we're doing. And we have the ability to see in all these different wavelengths because we understand and comprehend what it really is. And we can sit there and actually observe these reactions. We've observed in the infrared the ignition of a brand new star. We've watched new star systems in the midst of planetary accretion in many different levels. You can't sit there and try to say that something's fake when it's not. And it comes like this. Oh, non-binary has been proven. No, it hasn't. That actually hasn't. That's pseudoscience. It hasn't been proven. The only thing that was proven that transsexuals that knew from 3 to 7 years of age were actually females mentally, that they physically had a female brain. This doesn't include the she-males or the GNCs that go through teens saying they're a gay male and then all of a sudden decide they're trans. That doesn't cover them. They were excluded in an early program where they were looking at this, and they had male BSTCs, and these others that seemed to know from 3 didn't, so they just separated them. And then you're trying to push them all up into one big thing, and then all of a sudden this non-binary stuff pops out because someone couldn't quite pass well enough. Now, here's the thing. If you're older, yes, you're going to have troubles passing. I mean, some of us have less than others, and they hear about it early on, and, I actually did. They didn't realize I'd already locked in my significant features when I was in my 30s, my early 30s. It was a bad time. But at least they knew that there was transsexual she-males and transvestites. They didn't mix them up. They had them all separated. Transsexual GNC and you guys that like to wear women's clothing get off on it. So, you have to sit there and look at the science and actually realize that if this is peer-reviewed and confirmed, then you can't sit there and question it in any kind of way. And you can't sit there and make up a whole bunch of genders that don't really exist when it goes totally against science and biology. There's 2 sexes. There's not going to be 7,000 different genders or 20 billion. There's only going to be 2. So, I'm sorry. If you do not get how evolution of the neurosystem works, or how evolution of the animal species. If you've seen 96 or 76 or a million different genders, show me the millions of different sexes that correspond with those genders, and you can't. And it's not on a spectrum. The body may have differences in the spectrum, but they're still just male and female. You can't just say there's not. Just like you cannot say that evolution didn't actually happen, that it's really creation. No, that's not how it works. And Big Bang's part of evolution? No, it's not. pseudoscience is pseudoscience. It's tried to make itself sound smart, but really, in all honesty, it really isn't. I've seen redshift myself. I understand about the cosmic background radiation. I've seen these stars ignite. I've seen planets being formed through accretion. I've seen the data on a breakaway shockwave. I know about the VLGs. This is because I study cosmology. I don't sit there and believe blindly in it. I actually have to see it for myself. It's just like they dissected our brains and looked for themselves to see. And they had one that never took hormones. Were they female? They were. You can't question the science. You really can't. If you sit there and, oh, well, that's not the way it worked. That's been debunked. That's old scientific opinion. Outdated scientific opinion. No. There's no such thing as outdated scientific opinion. And this retard goes around saying that they're actually a life scientist. And they're sitting there saying that biology becomes an outdated opinion. No, it doesn't. You can't sit there and say that. It's like you idiots that run around being TERFs and try to say man once man, always man, and it's really not. And then you question trans people, but you don't question your own self. So if there's no trans, there's probably no lesbian or gay men. Because it all deals with neurocenters in your brain. And if your neurocenter makes a female want a female or a male want a male, where do you think there is not a possibility that it can make someone feel like they're in the wrong body? They show it. The studies of observation of kids, and for decades, there's observation and study and confirmations and dissections and looking at their brains closely under a microscope, and yet you sit there and you deny it because of a Bible. Because you're buying bull from some book called the Bible. And it basically lives up to its name. It's a bunch of bull. And you believe it. So you want to harm others and slow down in the advancement of society. It's just like the trans fakes that go around spewing out garbage all day long. But they're not trans. They don't even know that dysphoria starts with the genitals when you're a really small kid, and then it moves up to the body and everything else when you start deforming into that monster that you have to look at in the mirror. But you don't understand that. And neither does people like Blair White, who couldn't explain it for this video, if they even look. And still couldn't explain it, right? Because they've never sensed it. They've never felt it. They've never been there and been through that. And you think that some God's going to make people like that and have you execute them? You're so full of garbage, it's ridiculous. You are going to start some problems, I'm sure, before this is all over, because you got people like idiot Pence up there who wants to, let's just teach, create, no, let's don't teach something that's fake and not real. There's no such thing as creation. It's been debunked. That's why it was thrown out and to begin with, because they were teaching it. And they weren't allowing evolution to be taught. And then once they said, oh wait, there's proof to this one, but not that one. Okay, yeah, that's fake. This one's real. But you don't like that. So you want to try to reverse it and get it back. No, Pence. You need to stay out of our federal government. You need to stay away from our government altogether. In fact, you don't need to be in any kind of political position whatsoever yourself. Why don't you go back to screaming at your little fans that think that you are some prophet of this fake sky fairies that you all have deluded to, and let the world advance. Let society become a more advanced stage 1 society. Drop your idea of a God.